right now, I want to get to this story. Hockey referees speaking out over being subjected to violence on the ice. I want you to hear first the report from Angela McKenzie at CTV, and then we're going to talk to one of the people in this report, Ken McLellan, one of those hockey referees. Listen to this.
In the 45 years Ken McLellan has been a hockey referee, he's seen the level of violence on and off the ice increase.
A lot more violence is being vented in the arenas because it seems to be one of the only areas that people feel comfortable doing that.
Last year, he was on the receiving end of that violence. While reffing a midget game in Laval, a young player, unhappy with a call, aimed a slap shot directly at McLellan's face.
And that put me down on the ice, which unfortunately took me to the hospital.
He was there for 3 days, had multiple operations, and couldn't work for a month. Nouveau Info journalist Marie-Claude Paradis-Desfossés spoke to other referees with similar stories.
The referees have the feeling that they didn't receive any help, any emotional support, or any financial support.
People like Marie-Ève Robichaud, who took a puck to the mouth while reffing a junior game in St. Jerome last year. Her memory of the incident is hazy, but afterwards she suffered physically and mentally and was diagnosed with PTSD. Luc Tétrault was assaulted during a junior game in Granby last March. Video shows a player ramming him headfirst into the boards. He says no one contacted him afterwards to see how he was doing. McLellan also felt abandoned.
There's like a conspiracy of silence when a referee gets injured. Nobody reaches out to you. Nobody tries to assist you.
A recent study by HEC Montréal found 85% of Quebec refs have experienced verbal violence on the ice. 45% have experienced physical violence. But there's little recourse for referees injured on the job. Insurance from Hockey Canada is limited, only topping a ref's private insurance if they have any.
One of the problems is the referees in Quebec are considered as self-employed, so they do not have the right of any compensation from la CNSST. But in some cases, la CNSST is saying that they are employees.
Which is what happened to Robichaud, but her league contested that decision and her case is now before a labor tribunal. McLellan says he's lucky he has private insurance. He also went through small claims court and eventually settled out of court for $15,000. Tétrault filed a police report, but the prosecution didn't press charges against the player. Hockey Quebec says it's reforming its disciplinary committees and they're looking at other ways to improve things for referees.
So that's Angela McKenzie's report from CTV Montreal. The gentleman mentioned, one of them, Ken McLellan, hockey referee for the past 45 years, in that story, is on the line. Mr. McLellan, thanks for being here this afternoon.
Hi, Aaron. It's nice to be with you.
Yeah, listen, I want to go back to what you said in there. I found that fascinating, what you call a conspiracy of silence. So after this happens, no one came up to you to say what you could do, should do, what they're going to follow up? Nothing?
No. There was no one from the association, no one from Hockey Laval, and no one from Hockey Quebec. They didn't even find out how I was doing or things of that nature. The only thing that occurred was there was an email sent by the player trying to tell me that it was an accident, and he sent it to the referee-in-chief, who just forwarded it to me without any note attached to it.
Wait, so you're referring the player who took the slap shot that hit you in the face sent an email to the head of the Referees Association? Am I getting that right?
That's correct. He sent him saying, listen, it was an accident. Well, of course he's going to say that because... Sure. And so that was just forwarded to me. And that was all the communication I received.
I'm trying to understand how this works. I heard her say in the report there is no hockey referees union, as it were. You're considered just self-employed. So basically, in your case, you were lucky you had private insurance, and I heard in the report that you actually went to small claims court. Who do you end up suing in small claims court, by the way?
Pardon me? I didn't actually make it to small claims court because we settled out of court. But what I did is I took all the documentations. I went to the small claims court to get the documentation. Did the mise en demeure. I'm not sure what the English translation is. And I sent it to the parents. Letting them know that this is the compensation that I was looking for, and if not, we would take it to court. Once that information got out to them, I actually was contacted by the insurance company or the insurance representative for Hockey Canada, who came to see me. And in the conversations with them, as they explained, at least they were forthright with me. They would say they're on the side of the player, not defending him, but they don't necessarily even defend or represent us. So she was trying to dissuade me from that approach. And I just shared with her, I said, well, thank you for the conversation. I think maybe I'll be showing you something rather than you sharing something with me. And by the time I continued on with the process, the private insurance companies of the players decided, as they understood it, and that it required the compensation. And so they settled out of court rather than taking it to court.
And the player who did this, he is still playing. There was no punishment for him whatsoever, as far as you're aware?
There was a 3-game suspension. A 3-game suspension by the rule at the time, because they've upped the minimum now to 5. But the thing that I find just unfortunate and a little bit surprising is I used to supervise and take care of the first-year referees in Laval. And as an example, if you as a referee, if you were one of my referees and you were injured or inflicted violence on, I would take care of leading the charge with you to the discipline court and discipline committee to get the maximum and to show them the size of what had occurred and try to increase from the minimum. Mm-hmm. When I approached them to find out, did anybody go to the discipline court or discipline committee, I should say, to represent me or to explain that this needs to be increased from 3, they said no. Nobody went to see them, and the player just said it was an accident, and so they said, okay, we're just going to leave it at 3 games.
What can I ask you? You refereed, as I said in the top, for 45 years. You've been doing this for a long, long time. You obviously do it because you enjoy it. I'm wondering, what do you want to see happen here? Because as Angela said in that report, these incidents are increasing, not decreasing. So what needs to be done in your opinion?
Well, again, there's a lot of different groups that have... Right now, I'll tell you, what they need to do is somebody needs to take responsibility for the safety of referees. What you're going to hear from Hockey Quebec that they have coordinators, they have different people, and they're going to be saying things like, well, everybody's responsible for the safety of referees. But the challenge, what occurs is that when you make everybody responsible, nobody's responsible. Right. And that is the challenge at this point. So what he's trying to do, and I'd heard that in the report, is that the president of Hockey Quebec is trying to centralize this to hopefully make somebody responsible for it. But the other thing is that I think that there needs to be a group or an individual that is responsible for reaching out to someone when violence occurs. I've had referees that worked for me when I was supervising them have had to go through therapy. The referees that were locked in referee rooms and traumatized. Did a lot of different things that had I not taken the file and led the file, it would have just dropped. Nobody reaches out to them. And somebody needs to be able to reach out to them. One of the things I always found interesting is that as a supervisor, they always say that the key thing of a supervisor for referees is to empathize with them. Well, we do that during training, but for some reason, when they're injured, there doesn't seem to be any empathy or reach out.
I would ask, because we're running out of time, I would have asked, this happened with a player, this incident with you. What's your message to fans? Because we know fans have gotten involved as well. What would you like to tell them?
What I'd like to tell them is that the majority of referees are between 14 and 18 years old. And the yelling, the violence, the threats, these things don't just fall off them. They take that out into their families, into their schools, into the games that they play. To really understand that these are kids that are affected, and we need to be able to calm down and to understand that this is still just a game.
Ken McLellan, hockey referee, I thank you so much for your time. Do appreciate it. Thanks again.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.